Welcome to the Smart Property Investment Show with your host, Phil Tarrant.
Good day, everyone. Welcome to the show today. I've been looking forward to having this chat. It's been in my calendar for a little while, and we have someone in the studio who's flown in from WA. They're in Sydney for the weekend with their wife to immerse themselves in property and property education, and probably also a little bit of social stuff, I hope, as well. It's a good town for getting out and checking it out. What I'm going to do, I'm going to read a note sent to the team here at smartpropertyinvestment.com.au, sent by his wife Tina, who's in town with him, but she's in a moment in an education piece. She writes, "Hi guys, my husband David and I love listening to your podcast. This may sound like a weird email, but I think my husband would be an amazing guest on your podcast, as our investment journey has been incredible with him at the helm." You're a big fan here, David. When we got married 8 years ago, all we had financially was a whole lot of debt. We purchased our principal place of residence in 2013 when our daughter was only 8 months old, and now have 4 properties. We haven't ever had huge paying jobs. We're both social workers, but have worked 2 jobs each to make this property investment journey happen. My husband works harder than anyone I know, and we want to leave a legacy for our kids. That means that they won't struggle when they get older, but we want to have financial freedom to have amazing holidays with them now. Anyway, I thought I would share that with you and hope that we might be able to encourage others to move forward and take the plunge with their investment property. Again, thanks for your podcasts and sharing your wisdom. Tina, thank you so much. I know you can't be with us today, so shout out to you. And we get a real kick out of people connecting with us, talking about their investment journey and getting onto the show. So, David, here we are, mate. It's good to have you here. And how are you finding Sydney so far? When did you arrive?
Yeah, thanks for having me. We arrived yesterday. So,
okay.
Yeah.
Where were you sort of staying somewhere down Harbour?
Yeah, Airbnb in Bondi. So,
okay, that's cool. What sort of social circuit for you over the next couple of nights? You got much on?
Probably food.
Went
to Randwick last night, so thoroughly enjoyed that.
Yeah, no, it's good. And when you fly back to Perth?
Sunday we fly back to Queensland.
Okay.
Our kids are being babysat by nanny, so she's getting some good nanny time in, and we fly back on I think Tina goes back on the 3rd. I'll go back on the 5th.
Okay, wow. So it says here that you work a couple of jobs. What do you guys do for a living? It says you're social workers. What sort of work do you do?
Yeah, so I'm the general manager, or we're both managers of 2 drug and alcohol rehabs in regional Western Australia. Yeah. So
regional Western Australia, are we talking like
Kalgoorlie
sort of way?
No, place on the same road goes out to Kalgoorlie, but no, a place called Northam, which is about an hour and a half out of Perth.
Okay.
So
and are you guys Perth born and bred? And
no, definitely not. No, my wife's a Perth girl. Boy meets girl. Boy moves the other side of Australia. So.
Yeah, it's the way it works, right?
No, look, we met in Queensland. We're both public speakers at the time.
Okay.
And met and married in 4 months. Here we are 8 years later.
Yeah.
But we lived in Melbourne for about 5 years.
And do you enjoy your work? Because I know that the social workers I know have a true passion for it. And I know that sort of drug and alcohol rehabilitation in some of our regional areas is quite a pressing issue, right?
It is, yeah. Look, it's very fulfilling work. Very fulfilling work. I mean, we've got to keep in mind that, nobody woke up one day and said, today's a great day to be a drug addict. There's, a lot more that drives that addiction. And so we really work, we work with men, hurt men, traumatized men. And so we thoroughly enjoy it.
Get them back on their feet, which is commendable. And I often think about what I do for a living. All I do is stand here and talk behind a microphone. And I sometimes feel a bit sort of when I know there's guys and girls like you out there doing the work that you do. So you probably don't get thanked enough for it, but it's cool what you're doing. But so you're also doing other stuff as well, though. So you work in a couple of jobs, and I guess it's all about the property investment journey, cashing up and buying property. What else you do?
Look, we've worked in a couple of different areas. I've worked a couple of different jobs over the years, and as a secondary or a side hustle, as they call it these days. But I started a mortgage broker, mortgage brokering company a while back, and so enjoying that. Learning lots.
And do you think you can balance both of these things side by side moving forward?
That's
the idea?
Absolutely, yeah. Look, I think that, it's social work as much as we love it. I think there is an expiration date on it. And, I suppose what the notion is now is to build the business up and in time to come, I'll probably sort of exit stage left and go into brokering full time and I'm sure my wife will stay doing what she's doing. So
the psychology of social work and the psychology of being a property investor, there's probably a lot you can lean on from your social work into mindset and development and goal setting in property investment. Is that a sort of fair assumption?
It is a fair assumption.
Yeah.
Look, you can draw a few parallels, and especially when it comes to mindset. We talk a lot about mindset. In fact, it's how we start our day off every single day, talking about what our value for the day will be and what our goals are, So I think that, when we talk about property, it's a daily conversation, at our dinner table. So, we're always reviewing our goals probably, every 3 months and reviewing them and monitoring them and see how they're going.
And what's your process for goal setting? Do you have an internal dialogue, or is it you and your wife Tina sort of have a discussion and then you write it down and you review it? How do you do that?
Generally a night down at Scarborough at the Rendezvous and a bottle of red and generally write it down.
Yeah, that's the best way to do it, on the back of a beer coaster, I hope.
Absolutely.
It's funny, the sort of, I've got a collection of beer coasters with stupid stuff written on the back of it where you have great ideas, and I'm not a big writer down of goals, but I'm sort of more of a internal sort of narrative and dialogue, and but it's funny to look at these things sometimes. And you say you sort of review your goals every 3 months or so. Is that on the basis of continue to push ahead, or is it to analyse and reflect whether or not you're doing the right thing?
Look, I think it's just reflecting whether we're doing the right thing. Things change. I mean, we're at the back of on the tail end of a Royal Commission at the moment. There's the possibility, or probably very highly likely, that we have a change of government. So we're looking at what our strategy might be 2 years down the track if negative gearing is scrapped, or So although we're looking at our short term goals, we're looking at the bigger picture as well.
Yeah, and what is the big picture for you guys? And the note I read out originally, you want to have a bit of fun now, and but also it's a bit of a generational play and set your kids up for the future. So, what is the goal? Is it a retirement goal where you can sit back and relax, or do you prefer the journey getting there? Is that more?
No, look, I think it's definitely a buy and hold strategy, and wanting to leave our kids a legacy. We talk a lot about legacy in rehab, and that's a very big part of recovery. What is your legacy? For us, the chances are our parents aren't going to pass on a lot to us. So I want to make sure that our kids are, certainly set up. I don't want to give them a free meal ticket by any means. They'll work hard for it. But, it'd be nice to know that, we can pass that on.
It's funny, I guess drawing a parallel from drug and alcohol rehab stuff that you do, it's the process is just as important as the outcome, because the process pretty much dictates the outcome. When you talk about legacy for your children, I guess there's a financial benefit in that. Potentially it might be a property portfolio, but it's probably the rigor and process of understanding financial management and how that can be a tool and an asset for forever.
Look, just like recovery, it's got to be set on a very solid ground. It's got to be integral. It's got to be really strong, and so that's what we bring over to our portfolio and what our long game is. Yeah.
Do you ever sort of end up chatting about property when you're working with I don't even know the correct sort of word for clients? Is it sort of ever come into the conversation?
Look, it does, and it comes up quite regularly. I mean, we take a lot of guys who were working on the mines, and obviously in the downturn, a lot of them were either made redundant or for whatever reason, or addictions taking grip, and a lot of them have owned houses or portfolios and lost a lot. So we talk a lot about how you set up a solid foundation for your portfolio down the track, and putting in measures that might be around having their parents involved in it, in some of that decision making, just so they're accountable to someone moving forward.
There's a word that was actually sitting in the back of my mind was around accountability, and if you're not accountable for yourself, no one else is really going to be accountable for you. But it's good to actually lean on people, and it's okay to ask for help, right? And that level of accountability might be, if you look at a property portfolio, I do it myself. I give it to my accountant and other people I lean on within my sort of A team of people, and say, what do you reckon about this? And I'm happy I'm happy to say, for someone to say, Phil, you're doing a great job there, but I'm also happier when someone goes, yeah, that's okay, but have you thought about this? Have you thought about that? Just to help steer you in a particular direction to get a better outcome. And I think that's a level of maturity that in property, outside the property, that people should all strive towards. How do you think you're sort of wired in that regards? Are you happy to sort of go out there and get assessed, get analysed in your property investment journey to try and put you on the right path? Yeah,
look, I mean, I lean on property agents or buyers agents.
Yeah.
Our latest acquisition was through the Right Property Group.
Oh, did you use those guys, did you?
Through Victor,
there you go.
from your podcast. So, So
did you find them through the podcast? Did you?
I did,
hear
yeah.
about them? Okay.
I did, yeah.
All right, well, there you go, Victor. You know,
So yeah,
no, they're good operators. So
they are.
you know,
Yep,
they know what they're
absolutely.
doing.
And look, we've got a property in Melbourne we bought for a buyer's agent. So they're the people I lean on for my advice. And I don't pretend to know it all. And I'd rather pay the $10,000 to tap in that knowledge and many years of it.
So you have this goal, and I think it sounds like it's probably an evolving goal for you. Probably, every 6 months or 12 months, probably changes a little bit. Have you got a dollar amount of property that you want to hold at some point in time unencumbered? Is that how you're setting your goals? Or
Look, I'd like to own 6 properties unencumbered.
Okay.
And have a reasonable income from it. I'm sort of working on. Often you hear a lot of people sort of say around $3,000 a week. I'm sort of thinking 20 years down the track, I think I'd like $3,000 a week. So that's what we're looking at.
Okay. And which is a pretty reasonable goal to have.
It is.
It's not overly ambitious. It's probably pretty realistic. And I think a lot of people think they become overnight bazillionaires investing in property. It's not really the way it works. So conservative goals are often the best goals. And if you get upside from there, you're just happy about that, aren't you?
Yeah. And look, I'm always, even in brokering, when people sort of come and they talk about what their goals are with property, and they want to be rich, and and I sort of tend to steer away from those sort of people. I'd rather deal with the mum and dad investors, because relating back to recovery, addicts. One of the characteristics of addicts a lot of the time is this over the top. It's all or nothing. And a lot of the time that's where property portfolios aren't built on solid ground. A lot of the time it's irrational. It's impulsive decisions.
It's not sustainable, is it? It's
not sustainable, So
sustainability is a pretty important thing.
Absolutely. So look, if I have anyone come to me and say, "Listen, I want to be rich," then I also say, "Look, there's probably another broker out there to deal with." So.
Often people come on the Smart Property Investment Show, and I'll ask them what are your goals, and sometimes on the show and off the show it just depends. They go, "I want to be rich," and I go, "Okay, what does that mean?" And they sit there and they often. No one ever really gives you a really succinct answer quickly. They sit there and they think about it, and then they go. They normally change the topic because they actually don't need to. They don't know how to articulate what rich actually means to them. They think it's an endpoint, a status point, which I'm wealthy, I'm rich. Where often, the people who are able to crystallize what wealthy means to them, what rich means to them, is normally more time with my family, or I just want really good health.
I had someone not long ago who was in our recovery program said, "I want to be rich." Same thing. What does that look like? For him, rich was getting his marriage back together, getting his children back. Yeah, that's what rich was.
That's it, which is a good goal to have, right?
Absolutely.
It's not a material goal; it's an emotional goal in many ways. So you need to have your goals, and if you're not goal setting as a property investor, I highly recommend you do it. You're moving into a period now of the Chrissy and New Year's period, and New Year, new opportunities, New Year's resolutions, all that sort of stuff. I only subscribe to it, but it's a good time to sit back and reflect, right? And this period for a lot of people can be potentially emotional. If I think about your clients, it's probably one of the worst times of the year if you're struggling with
very vulnerable time.
Very vulnerable times is the term I'm using for. So, think about your goal setting in property investment, and now's a good time to do it. It's always a good time to do it, but if you need help with goal setting, it goes back to accountability. Even if it's just a friend or a mentor or a colleague or a peer who you can actually sit and have a conversation around. What your aims and ambitions are, or your wife is probably the best one, right? Or your partner. Just think about how you can go about doing that. And, what sort of process? You said a bottle of red down the pub, right? But, did you have any structure to your goal setting with Tina, or is it just you have a chat and you sort of end up where you should end up?
Look, I think it happens quite organically. Look, we look at obviously what we want to achieve in a 12-month period. We look at what we want to look at in the next 5 years. Then of course we review it every 3 months, and we'll sit down and talk about as I said before, policy change, or talk about politics and government, how that could potentially affect our portfolio or our future portfolios.
Do you have any sort of mates or other people you chat to property about? Or you keep it sort of pretty insular with you too?
Pretty insular. Look, my brother probably.
Yeah. And who sort of the note I read out earlier? It sounds like Tina's your biggest advocate, which is cool. Who sort of drives? Who's the biggest driver in a relationship? Because there's always different dynamics irrespective of the relationship. Who's sort of the gun ho? Let's do more, and who's more of the come on? Let's just take it a little bit slower and easier. How would you describe it?
Yeah, look, I think we're a little bit. I think we're pretty balanced actually. But no, look, Tina is very good at playing the devil's advocate.
Yeah.
Sort of step back. Let's does this tick all the boxes? So yeah.
How do you go with questions? Seeing that you sort of work as a as a social worker, so your job pretty much is asking other people what they think about stuff. Do you sort of get questioned like this very often yourself? Is that something? It's funny with social workers because they're so used to thinking and hearing about other people, they don't normally talk about themselves a lot. Is this sort of a interesting thing?
I guess because I'm not doing. I don't do a lot of the one-on-one. I mean, the stuff I'm doing as the manager is the group stuff. And we have a debrief at the end of the day, or a psychosocial group, and people get curious because I've never taken drugs. I wouldn't know what it was like to live in that world, and they're curious about that.
Yeah.
What a sober and serene life looks like. So they'll often ask questions.
Yeah.
Because they're looking for a mentor.
Absolutely.
They're looking for someone to look up to.
Yeah. Someone to emulate.
Yeah. So.
Which is a good place to be, is a responsible place to be as well.
As I say, success leaves clues. So
success does definitely leave clues, and let's have a chat about success and leaving clues. Then your portfolio. So you have your principal place of residence, which was your first place that you bought. Is that within the area that you guys work?
No, so look, that's in Melbourne.
Okay.
In the Dandenong Ranges up in Belgrove.
Okay.
Which is where I was sort of born and raised originally.
Yeah. Nice part of the world.
Yeah, beautiful.
Yeah. And that's now an investment property, is it?
Sadly, yes.
Sadly, yes. You think you'll ever go back? Don't know. See what happens.
Yeah, I think once you've had a taste of the good weather, it's going to be very hard.
Yeah. So the place that you live in now, is that your principal place resident? You're renting there, or how does it work?
So part of our strategy, and I suppose looking at serviceability, we decided to take a job in a regional area because a lot of the time they'll provide a car, they'll provide a house, partial food. So. Yeah, so that was part of our strategy. So we went to when we took the job, and obviously they provide a house for us, provide a work vehicle and partial food. So
is this government thing, or is it more of a private thing?
It's a private rehab.
Okay,
but it's partially
partially funded,
very partially government funded.
Okay.
And I say partially, very loose.
That's cool then. So essentially, you're earning potential means that you're not spending the money that you're receiving on stuff that normal people are spending on, so you can build it up. So there's 4 properties in your portfolio.
There is.
First one was originally your principal place of residence down in Victoria, Dandenong Way, Dandenong Ranges Way. So what happened? What did you buy? How much did you pay for that one?
Well, we paid $410.
Yeah.
What happened was we went along. Tina found it. We went along to one of the open homes, and I sort of spoke to the real estate agent. He was pretty cocky, flashy sort of a bloke, and. I said, look, I'll give you $410. He sort of laughed. He said, he goes, I've already got an offer on it for $430. He said, mate, I opened this, doing the open home today because I have to. I said, okay. I said, look, here's my card. Give me a call if it falls through. He sort of chuckled and off he went.
When did you get the phone call?
About 3 months later.
Yeah. 3 months later.
3 months later,
okay.
The contract fell through, and he said, do you want to make another offer? I said, yeah, sure. The same offer I made in the first place.
Yeah.
So, they took it.
He snapped it? Yeah.
Look, they snapped it. The owners sort of thought it was a done deal and relocated back to the UK. And so they were pretty keen just to offload it.
It's a huge lesson there for property investors.
It is.
That's good buying, right?
It's
good buying. So you settled probably pretty quickly on it.
Yeah, 30 days.
Yeah, 30 days.
Yep.
And moved in?
Moved in, yep.
Okay, cool. And then how long were you living there when you acquired your next property, your first investment property?
Yeah, so our first investment was in Rosanna in Melbourne.
Okay.
So that was purchased for a buyer's agent through Frank Vlinich.
Okay.
Vlinich.
Yeah. Frank's all over the block still, isn't he?
He is.
Whenever
he loves it.
Yeah. Whenever you look at the auctions, he's there. He's doing what he does.
He's the only bloke I know who can pull off a green blazer jacket and salmon
does
coloured
well.
pants.
Snappy dress of Frank.
He is.
So what'd you pay for that?
$275.
Okay. What was it? A house?
No, it's a unit. So it was a block of 8 units, and so we purchased through Frank's, block strategy.
Yep. Okay. Cool.
And then I think the day after we settled, so I think we purchased it. It was around November, maybe a bit earlier. Settled on the 28th of Feb, and got a valuation for $430 without even touching it.
What did you pay for it? Sorry,
$275.
So you happy about that?
Very happy. Very happy.
So I haven't spoken to Frank for years, but by memory, what he does, he acquires full blocks and sometimes does a reno on them, sometimes doesn't, and stratas them, or they might already be strated. So you're buying at wholesale and you're essentially getting a retail price. Is that a fair summary? It's what you've done?
Yeah, look, that's what we've done. Look, he purchased the block, he strated them, then we all sort of chipped in, I think it was $20,000 for some external
stuff,
rejuvenation.
Yeah.
So basically a bit of render and balustrades, and it was an old 1970s ugly looking red brick sort of a building. So yeah,
it's a good return. And was that because it was secured so cheaply on the market because it was a bulk buy. Did you know that's what sort of valuation you would get when you purchased it? Did you? What were you thinking?
Oh, not even Frank thought that. I wasn't thinking anything. Look, to be quite honest, I was just curious. Yeah. I thought because I was quite dubious about paying someone $15,000 or thereabouts, whatever it was, as a buyer's agent. Yeah. I thought, I need to put this to the test, and so my broker at the time got a valuation on it, and so yeah. You
still got it?
Yeah, still. Oh, you won't give that up. It's gone up even more since.
Mm. So where's it, Rosanna? Where's Rosanna?
Rosanna's about 13k from in the northeast Melbourne.
Okay, that's a good location.
Yeah, not far from Heidelberg, Eagle. Yeah, around there.
Okay, that's cool. So you paid $275 plus and this is what you got to think about all your on costs, right? Plus your buyer's agent's fee, plus you had to pony up $20,000 for your sort of bulk reno costs and
15,000 in stamp duty,
and all this sort of stuff. So you're still in for, call it 230, 240. Yep. 330, 340. So you still got $100,000 uplift instantly, right?
Absolutely.
That's a 25%. That's pretty good. It's pretty
Nothing
good.
to be balked at.
If you do that every day, you would do it. But I don't know if those sort of deals exist anymore.
Well, look, as Frank once said to me, he goes, Dave, he said there will only be one Rosanna.
So what happened after Rosanna?
So after Rosanna, we moved to Northern, in Western Australia.
Yep.
And we purchased a old Federation home.
Okay. So, to live in?
No, just as investment. Yeah, look, it was a mortgagee sale, and obviously with the downturn in the resource sector in WA, they just saw prices absolutely plummet, especially in that particular area.
We're at Northern.
Northern. It's about an hour and a half out of Perth City, heading
Which
east.
Way? East.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Middle of nowhere.
Middle of nowhere.
Yeah. I've never been there. So.
No,
but I like Perth. It's cool, but I've always stuck on the coast.
Northern's one of those places. It's either too cold, too hot, too wet, too dry.
So were you living there and you bought? So you're living and renting there, were you? And doing something?
Yeah, we're living in town, obviously for our work.
Okay.
And I sort of had a look around town, and look, there was a few strategies with that particular house. It's on two titles. 1,700 square meters, corner block.
Smack bang in the middle, or was it on one side of the titles?
No, it's on one. Well, it's on one side.
Title.
Yeah. So it runs over two titles. So we're in the at the moment getting the tower planner out to realign the boundaries.
Okay.
So the conveyancer, sorry.
Based on where the house is, so you can sort of shuffle around a bit.
Yeah. So we can. It's R30 zone, so we could potentially put 3 or 4 townhouses at the back. It's a corner block, so we've got 2 accesses. So, and
are you allowed to touch the house, or is it, could you knock it down, or is it Federation? Is it probably significant? I guess.
No, look, I think there's a bit of a heritage overlay. You just got to keep if you're going to paint it. Obviously, it's got to be approved by the council, and
And this is like downtown, is it? Like I'm picturing a country town.
Yeah. So what happened was there was a big block. It was the old hospital got demolished there, and so they were. And I sort of had a bit inside information, if you will, because that belonged to the rehab. Oh. So they sold off the old hospital and demolished it, and then sold that to a developer who put in a big shopping centre.
Okay.
So we purchased it as I was sort of halfway through, but as they were doing it, there were sort of blocks going up and up towards us that were getting rezoned as well. So we could potentially use this house and turn it to a partial sort of commercial property as well.
That's cool. And what'd you pay for the place?
$280.
Okay. And does it move, do you think?
I had it revalued at $330.
Okay. $330. And so when did you buy it?
That was last year.
Okay. Oh, so it's recent then. Yep. 207. Okay, you've done pretty well out of that. And has it had? So it's got the rezoning now.
Hasn't got no. So the block before us has, but there's been R30 approved. So I spoke to the council and they sort of said, look, that wouldn't be a problem to run a small boutique sort of a office out of there, or a dental surgery or something like that.
Okay, cool. All right. And then the next property, the most recent purchase, I guess it is. What was it?
Up around your neck of woods where you've been buying up Narang Bar.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
Yeah.
So and I purchased that through Victor.
Okay. And what did you buy up there? House.
Yeah.
House. Yeah. Three bedder, 2 bathroom.
4x2.
4x2.
Yeah.
4x2. Cool. On sort of just a normal stock sort of.
Yeah. 611 square meters.
And what'd you pay for it?
$365.
365. Okay, you probably haven't worried about revaluing it yet.
Look, I've looked at the RP data. The RP data comes back at $390.
Okay, so you bought it pretty well under market value. Yep. That's pretty cool. So all up then, how sort of the total value of your portfolio now? What would you sort of say? He's looking for his phone.
Yeah.
I thought I'd go.
Belgrave, Belgrave is 665.
Yeah, 665. That was bought at 410. Yeah, is that correct?
Yep.
Yeah, Rosanna
480.
480.
It's actually gone up a little bit more since then. I think we got a valuation for 510.
Okay, we'll call 480 because it's probably changed a bit.
Northern. Yep. So Northern we bought at 280, valuation 330.
330, and then 365 the most recent purchase. Yeah.
Yep.
Quick maths 1.7 something.
Yep.
Yeah. That's cool. And so how have you been? Let's chat about finance. How have you been financing these things? Where you been getting the cash together to buy this stuff? You refinancing?
Just refinancing, keeping it at a 80% LVR. So yeah.
And you're quite happy with that level of LVR, that sort of risk appetite?
Look, I think 2019 we'll try and get it down a little bit. We've just refinanced. We've put some of the properties over to principal and interest. Obviously with the current economy. With
Did you
all
choose
that.
to do that, or did the banks just switch them over?
No, look, we chose to do that when we were refinancing. Just try and so on our principal place. Well, our old principal place of interest in Melbourne. So
Yeah, that's cool. And are you going to just stop for the moment, or are you going to keep buying, or what's the overall based on your sort of wider strategy? You happy just to sit and wait?
Look, I think 2019 will definitely be about cash flow. I think that's and having a decent sized buffer. We're looking at if we're looking at a change of government, do I buy again, or am I sort of buying into the hype? I don't know. It's something we've not completely decided on yet.
Well, people are talking about a potential sort of mini property boom, right?
Yeah.
Because if
and that's what I don't want to.
As we near the federal election, and the backstory of that is that if the Labor government do come in, and if the Labor government do look to tweak negative gearing, a lot of it will be grandfathers. So people are saying, oh, well, everyone's going to quickly jump in and try and buy property prior to that. So whether or not you want to play in that game, it's completely up to you if you're listening to this.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Look, as I said, I don't want to buy into the mini boom hysteria. So look, we'll see how we go. As I said, I think 2019, I really want to concentrate on cash flow and just make sure we've got a sensible buffer in place.
Yeah.
Just, look, at the end of the day, we'll start seeing, high interest rates in time to come. So
How do you like to run the household finances? You like to be sort of putting savings away and not redlining it? Is that your sort of comfort level?
Yeah, straight into the offset account.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
I mean, look, it's all my colleagues always sort of, and my wife are sort of always having a bit of a crack at me for a bit of a tight ass. So it's
Nothing wrong with that.
Nothing wrong with that.
Nothing wrong with that. And so that strategy then, you've got to offset against one property that you offset, or do you offset a number of properties?
Mostly, Rosanna.
Yeah.
And Belgrave.
Okay. Yep. Your mortgage on Rosanna and the first one, it should be, what's your sort of pre-tax position? Are you positively geared, or are you sort of hovering around neutral?
Hovering around, look, I'd say
it's a little bit negative.
And that's only because we've had a few incidentals this year, hot water systems and
all the usual stuff,
ovens and all the usual stuff, old infrastructure within the house. So.
Yeah, it happens. And so how would you explain the property market out in WA? There's been a lot of talk about it for many, many years. It's soft, fallen, flat, decimated, depends who you talk to. Are people sort of, are you feeling a shift in attitude or sentiment out in WA yet? Are people getting a bit more bullish and thinking that, you hear sort of mining starting to bubble a little bit more and confidence levels increasing? What are you seeing on the street?
Oh, look, we're starting to see a bit of confidence back within the investors. They're sort of trying to, decide whether they sort of, jump back in now or wait another 6 months. But look, I think by and large, it's definitely a first homeowners market over there. We're starting to see a lot more first homeowners in the market. So
there's all the cashed up mining guys aren't out there buying jet skis and brand new Commodores anymore.
No, I think they're still trying to offload a lot of the auction yards. So.
There's a lot of stuff out there, right, that people are trying to flog. Yeah.
There is.
Yeah. It's funny, isn't it? That whole the talk about mindset, I guess. When good times for people, often they deviate from what is sensible and appropriate in terms of their spending. And this comes back to financial education. So some of these guys and girls that were creaming it, in terms of salaries out in the mines are, if only they sort of park their money a little bit more appropriately, they'll probably be doing very well.
Look, I think from a broker's perspective, I think now is about educating our clients on a lot of the new changes within policy with APRA and the banks, of course, as a result of the commission, looking at their spending habits. Not so much how much they're spending, but their spending habits.
Yeah.
The 4 or 5 Uber Eats deliveries per week and those sorts of things, just getting them to sort of be a little bit more sensible in what they're spending their money on and educating that the banks are now looking at their bank statements, and their living expenses. Yeah,
you can't hide much these days.
You can't.
But it shouldn't be about hiding your spending. It should be about spending appropriately.
That's right.
And I was reading in the paper the other day saying, Afterpay, right? So Afterpay, which is you get something you want right now and then you pay it off in installments over time. The statement around it was that 25 or 30% of people who are using Afterpay are in financial distress and cannot make those repayments, right? This whole buying stuff when you shouldn't be buying it is a huge issue. And if you got that stuff sitting on your statements and you go for a home loan, a lender's going to go, well, why are you using Afterpay? It's not a good sign of financial health or financial maturity for many people. And often it's too late. When you want to change, they're still going to go, well, yeah.
Yeah, look, even myself and Tina, who we're pretty good savers, but we're even changing our habits. Not paying for that $1.50. By the way, our best coffee in town is at local Coles Express, but not paying for that $1.50 every single day on our card. Just sort of going, right, here's our $100 for the week. So there's not these
recurring transactions. I try and carry more cash now because I always have $3 whatever for a coffee. You pay $1.50 for a coffee.
Yeah, Coles Express, yeah.
$1.50.
$1.50, yeah. Oh, that's for a double shot as well.
Is it?
Yeah.
And it's pretty good.
It's pretty good.
What do you pay for like a meat pie?
Oh, look, I'd have to give the Avon Valley Bakery a bit of a shout out. It's Miss Mel down there, but yeah, you pay $3.50 for a pie. So yeah, good old country bakeries.
It's great. Best food in the world,
best
right?
Pies, best vanilla slices.
Have you got a Chinese restaurant in your in downtown?
Oh, look, I invest the hour and a half drive to Perth for that.
Do you?
But yes, we do.
Regional Australia is cool. I'm a big fan of it, and I'd like to see more of WA. I imagine at a point in time I will do. I've just really done the coast, sort of surfing and drinking wine. I haven't really gone north from Perth.
You got to go north. Yeah. We just got back from 3 weeks in Coral Bay up on the Ningaloo Reef. So yeah, absolutely beautiful.
It's cool. You been up Port Hedland way?
No. Coral Bay is as far as I've gone. So.
What's the sort of sentiment around Port Hedland? Because 5-6 years ago it was all the rage. Everyone was buying properties up there, and a lot of people got done. But
I think once bitten, twice shy. I think a lot of people are thinking twice about investing up. But then again, I mean, there are some opportunities up there. I mean, if you listen to commentators, such as Damien Collins, I know that he's
Momentum Wealth,
up at Momentum Wealth. He's up there looking around, and
is Damien up there having a look, or is he? That's cool.
Yeah, I saw on his Facebook page for a while back he was up there. So So look, I don't know. I'm sort of just watching, and I know Ben Kingsley sort of spoke about up that way a while back in one of his podcasts. So it might be a bit of a watch this space. So.
Yeah, well, that's what I do. I just watch and wait, and that's what a good property investor does.
Well, look, I mean, I was nervous investing an hour and a half out of Perth, let alone up those areas. But yeah,
see how we go.
Yep.
So the next couple of days, you're immersed in education. Smarter sort of renovation type stuff. So you're quite handy. You're happy to get your hands dirty.
No, absolutely not.
No, don't want to touch it.
No, my wife's the handyman of the house.
Okay.
No. For me, it's about probably just learning about how to do the managing of the projects. So. But no, I'm the least handy person you'll ever come across.
Can you get trades out in the sort of regional WA thereabout?
Oh yeah, you can. Yeah. Look, there's I've got a bloke in town I use, and he's very straightforward. $50 an hour plus costs.
Too easy.
So yeah,
sounds good.
Does all our handyman stuff around our investment property. So
yeah, nice one. I enjoy the chat, Dave.
Yeah.
Dave. I don't know.
Been called worse.
Yeah. Yeah, when you're back in town, give us a heads up, and we'll catch up and see what you're doing.
Absolutely.
See if there's any more properties on the radar. Are you doing any renos? It's good. I enjoy this discussion, sort of this mindset between what you do in, I guess, your professional life, and how you sort of use some of those, I'd call them tools personally, for goal setting in your property investment stuff. So keep up the good work. And again, it's yourself and Tina and people that work in our social services, social community work, worth weight in gold. So, it is appreciated. Nice one.
Thanks for having me.
So if you want, we'll get Dave back on, as I said, and we'll follow up some other stories on smartpropertyinvestment.com.au. I might even see if David's happy to send some pics through of his places, and we can put them up online and you can check them out, smartpropertyinvestment.com.au. If you just found the podcast, these are these sort of chats that we like to have with Aussie property investors, just getting out there and doing their thing. And we're all wired differently, but I think good investors have a lot of commonality, and we spoke about it today, and that's very much around just establishing really healthy mindsets and habits to keep pushing forward on the idea of and the process of wealth creation. So if you like what you heard today, go and check out. There's plenty of other podcasts wherever you listen to this right now, whether it's the Apple app or wherever else it is. So there's plenty of stuff out there. If you want to come on the show, we'd love to hear from you. Contact the team, editor at smartpropertyinvestment.com.au, and we'll get you on for a bit of a chat. It's pretty easy, as David. It's just pretty straightforward.
Very casual.
Very casual, which is the way we like to do it. And if you like social media, don't forget to check us out on Smart Property HQ, and you can like us, love us, and follow us, and whatever you do on social media, and keep abreast of what's happening in property and property investment right across Australia. We'll be back again next time. Until then, bye-bye.
The information featured in this podcast is general in nature and does not take into consideration your financial situation or individual needs and should not be relied upon. Before making any investment, insurance, tax, property, or financial planning decision, you should consult a licensed professional who can advise whether your decision is appropriate for you. Guests appearing on this podcast may have a commercial relationship with the companies mentioned.